Hey guys, welcome back. This is the brand new SubNation special access code. Of course, hey, where's Coley? She's working on it, guys. We got growing pains, as you would imagine. I guess there's a little bit of delay, so hang with us. If you just see me looking at you like a coconut, yeah, that was me. But anyway, I'm your host, Shaun. Of course, Coley's your host too. We're co-hosts, and she'll be coming on tonight, and we got a great show for you. But like I said, this is SubNationSAC special access code. So we got the brand new episodes going tonight, and we have a very special guest. And I wanted to go ahead and start before Coley's fixing things up. But tonight's guest is an astrophotographer, inventor, who in the early 2000s created an optical solution to contemporary limits of consumer-grade telescopes. He connected the Walson device. He created the Walson device to a video camera. He connected the Walson device to a video camera. Since then, he has recorded over 10,000 hours of what can only be called UFOs. The footage in question is not of little white dots, but clearly some of the most shocking examples of the genre. For those looking for honest and verifiable answers concerning potential extraterrestrial realities, you will find them in his extensive research findings backed by videos, pictures, and credible witnesses. In John Walson's book, Fast, Far Above Space and Time, you will have access to hundreds of photos, diagrams, and artist renditions. This journal is both visually beautiful and thought-provoking. Ladies and gentlemen of the SubNation Special Access Code, you have it tonight. Please put your hands together and welcome special guests from the UK. You ready, John? Hope we got your audio ready. I hope. Mr. John Leonard Walson to studio.
Very much. How you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Doing good. The reason that intro, man. We got some growing pains there. How's the audio? I'm hearing feedback again.
You've got the what? You can hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. You just got that wave noise again.
That wave.
Yeah.
Is that better?
That is better.
Yeah.
I'm still hearing my voice come back. But
excellent.
Yeah. Do you have any headphones you could grab to put on, or?
We haven't got those at the moment. I do apologise, but I can hear you okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn mine down. That way I don't annoy myself.
That's fine. No,
so you guys, we were talking before the show. Of course, we're waiting on Coley, the beautiful Coley, to come to the studio. But you guys are on a ghost investigation right now, you said, yeah?
Yep. I just want to thank you first and thank Coley for, offering us to be on your show. It's really kind of you.
Thank you so much, John. Sorry it's taken so long, but growing pains. And this is our first night doing this episode. So.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So where are you at? Can you reveal the location before we jump into it?
Yeah. We go all over the place. I've got my friend here, as you can see next to me. He's
friends.
Yeah. Yeah. We're in West Sussex in England. It's really beautiful. You go all over the place, and wherever I take the equipment, it's surely to find. Are you okay with the audio?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Just go with it.
Yeah. We are in West Sussex in the UK. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a lovely place to grow up.
Yeah, UK is beautiful. It really is. But I know you guys are known for a lot of your haunting and UFO experiences out there in sightings.
Yeah, definitely.
I've read a lot about it. Of course, we have our own here in America, but let's talk about what you're best known for. I mean, you're known for a lot of things, but of course, your fascinating work with telescopes and the device that you created. Can you walk us through that? Tell us how you got interested first to do this.
Yeah. Start at the beginning. I had a wonderful experience as a child with a really nice gentleman called Sir Patrick Moore. This gentleman, he was known all over the world for doing astronomy. He even interviewed Buzz Aldrin when he came back from the moon on TV in America. He was one of the English chaps that went over there and asked Buzz what was it like to see the stars on the moon. And this wonderful gentleman travelling around when I was a little kid, you know, and you'd look at the telescopes. He was like great big mouth of telescopes in his garden. And as a child, it was so inspiring to be able to be shown his telescopes. He'd show us the moon, and I was just hooked from that moment on as a little child. That's what got me interested in astronomy. You know, I love it. You know, all because of Patrick Moore. It's from Selby. It's about 10 miles from where we live, and he used to have us there as children, show us all the stuff that he was doing. It was great fun. So it was, yeah. And Sir Patrick Moore, as I said, is one of UK's top astronomers. Unfortunately, he's passed away now, but he was friends with the Queen guitarist. You know Queen, Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guitarist out of Queen. Yeah. He actually helped him when he got older. Had money problems, and the guitarist bought a house off him for, I think it was for $1, and then let the old man live there for free. So that was very kind of him to do that. You know, very, very kind. So yeah, that's what got me into astronomy, was Sir Patrick Moore. He's a wonderful man.
Sir Patrick Moore. What was his thoughts? How old were you when you got with him, a young man?
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah. When I first met Sir Patrick Moore, I must have been about 8 or 9 years old, probably, something like that. Very, you know, I'm an old man now. I'm an old man now. So.
Me too, brother. Look at the beard. Look at the grief. I gotta ask you, Shaun.
Yeah.
Why UFOs, brother? Hey, you're in paranormal altogether, but you love UFOs, aliens.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you start up doing telescopes and you build one, I've built my own telescopes, right? So when you start doing that and you're looking at the moon, you're gonna see things, aren't you? I mean, it's space, the final frontier. You're gonna see stuff. So when you see stuff, you wonder what it is, and you figure out ways to try and track it. So the first thing was to track it, to find a way how to see it clearly. And I built a telescope with video-based tracking. It's closed-loop video-based tracking. Do you know what that is?
I do.
Yeah. So you've got a little scope on the side of your big main telescope. It's like using a gun or a rifle. And all you do is set up the sight with crosshairs, and you see a little bright object in the sky. You set your video tracking on it, and you click it on your software, which is linked to your computer, and it highlights the object, like the little white dot you're looking up at the sky. When you've done that, your mount takes over and tracks it, and then you can concentrate on your camera on the back of if you've got an ODK or a Meade or a Celestron, you always got a camera on the back. Then you can concentrate on zooming in, getting the contrast right, the phone speed right, etc. So that's what I was doing when I was obviously filming the moon. I'd see these spheres shooting across the sky, and I wanted to find out what they were. And in the end, I managed to. It was 2007. Around that time, I was filming just up in the sky, doing some tracking, and I come across what I thought was like the space station, and I sent it in to Professor Jerry Gilmore, who's Professor of Experimental Astronomy, in Cambridge University in England, and he said to me, after looking at it, I've identified the exact things that you can send in, like still frames and video of what I was capturing. And he said, without doubt, they are the secret Star Wars project. So, you know what the secret Star Wars project is, do you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. He said, congratulations. He also said, you're doing a really good job. And my colleagues, that's his colleagues, were doing the exact same thing. So, he congratulated me on being able to figure out how to use the high frame rate. So for instance, in the 1998, you had the Sony handycams. The ones where you could flip to gen night vision, those ones?
Absolutely, I've seen them before.
The ghost hunters, you use them in ghost hunting, don't you?
Yeah.
And on those, the shutter speed, you can go down to like 0.5 lux. You know what that means?
I couldn't hear that, John.
The shutter speed, you can go down to 0.5 lux.
Did you say stratosphere?
Shutter speed.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. On those actual cameras, you can go down to 0.5 lux. It's the shutter speed, yeah. And it literally lights up, what you're looking at, get a better view when you put it on like a telescope. And the way I used to do it was I used to get the camera and poke the lens out with a screwdriver on the end of the camera, and it would expose like a barrel in the middle. And literally, there's another little lens in the barrel, and then at the end, there's a CCD chip. Do you know what a CCD chip is?
Absolutely. Same one in my telescope, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right. And on the end there, you've still got the option to zoom with your finger, yeah? Right? But you've removed the front lens. So now you're going to put this on the back of the telescope, and you then have turned it into a massive telephoto lens, yeah? And then if you still do a little bit of zooming, yeah, with your finger, because you've still left the barrel intact, yeah? And you've got the lens still traveling back and forth in the barrel, adjusting your zoom on the CCD chip, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. But the important thing is you've got to get your focal length between here and the back of the telescope correct. Are you following me so far?
I'm right with you.
Yeah. Once you've done all that, it takes some time because depending on what telescope you've got to have the camera and the chip the correct distance from the back of the telescope. Yeah, you just build up to get the correct focal distance. Once you've done that, you're okay. Then you can start zooming in on the moon, or say, for instance, you're tracking. It's good to have a good mount if you can afford it. Get I've got a Planewave L350. Have you heard of those?
Yeah.
Have you heard of a Paramount ME?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they're telescope mounts that are obviously computer controlled. They're also ones that are professionally used in universities. Even the military will be using the Planewave ME. I think up to like 2010. I think tracking satellites, and it flew 20 to 50 degrees per second. My one can flew up to 100 degrees per second. That's quite fast. So if you've locked onto an object that you can see a little white dot looking right down across the sky, and you've locked onto it, you can then track it at a very high rate of speed. And if you've got like a camera on the back that can capture at a very high rate of speed, you're laughing, because the more frames you capture, the more you can stack. Now, do you know what I mean, like stacking? You know what? Have you stacked images before? Yeah? So you've got a chunk of video. So if you stay on the object for like 60 seconds, and you've got 60 frames per second in your, high speed capture camera, some got 128, some got 200 odd frames per second. So the more frames you capture are better, and the higher speed frame rate. Because then you can get that moving and put it into a free program called Registack. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
And what it does, it takes out all the good frames if you put it into this program, and it will pick out all the good frames and then stack them and stitch them all together, so you get a high resolution picture. Yeah. And then you end up with a nice picture that you can send off to people who identify, and that's what I was doing. I sent off, quite a few frames to Jerry Gilmore and to NASA, and I've got emails back. I've sent you a few of them, haven't I, the emails. If you look on my bio, you'll see one from Jerry Gilmore, and he explains without doubt the films, the Star Wars project. So that's how it's developed, but it's still developing. I've now put in IR thermal UV onto my telescope, and I'm capturing stuff that you wouldn't believe. I tell you, it's incredible. Absolutely.
I imagine it's life-changing, John. You got people calling you to come out and do this now, right?
Yeah, I've got Dr. Greer. He's going to come out on Tuesday. He's going to visit and look through the equipment. I've got lots of other people. I had John, oh, it's amazing, John Lear. He called me up and said, can you come and build me a telescope? So I went over to Las Vegas to John Lear's mansion before he broke up with his wife. They lived in this beautiful mansion outside Las Vegas. And we turn up and I get all my kit together and we start building a telescope and we link it to a laptop so it's all computer tracking, you know, properly done. We sit out the back. He's got this gorgeous swimming pool. We're looking up at the moon and he's just sitting there as happy. I sent you some photos, I think. Yeah, he's as happy as anything.
John, you say that's not Steven Spielberg.
No, I'm getting to that. Yeah, John Lear. First of all, John Lear was so nice and so kind, an incredible man with so many stories. Absolutely a beautiful man, and it was such an inspiration to turn up and see such a character with all his stories. It was just heartbreaking when I found out he died. But you know, when we were sitting on that porch, on his back porch, looking through the telescope I built him, and we're taking photos, and I'll send you some video, I've sent you some stills, and he's just smiling, looking at the moon, and we're zooming right into craters. And I said, do you want to see a spaceship? And he said, yeah. So we moved to a bright dot moving across the sky, and then I click video track on the software, and it starts to track it, and you can actually see a spacecraft, and his face is smiling like anything, you know. And I've captured it all on video for a later documentary as well. So
now, John, I got to jump in here, brother.
Yeah.
You have
that
software. Now, do you develop that? You got someone developing, because you don't have to track with your eye. The software picks up strange, anomalous things in the sky. Yeah.
Yeah, it's software-based tracking. It's video. It's closed loop video based tracking. So basically, what it does, like I explained, you've got one camera like this, yeah, and that camera has got a wide field of view of the sky. So it's like what we can see. You understand? Yeah. And it's got to have an old gen night vision tube doing it, because then it really lights up the sky. Yeah. Then you see a bright dot go across the sky, like we do, yeah, up in the sky. Then when it sees it, when it's in the crosshairs, you click track and it highlights it. You know, like your DJI does. You know, yeah, when it tracks you and you're running along, your DJI is tracking you because you've highlighted yourself. Yeah?
Do you have to set distance on this, John, or does it pick up?
No, you don't have to set no distance. It's literally, it's video-based tracking. So when that finder scope, yeah, the finder scope, like you've got a rifle, a finder scope, when that finder scope on the side sees the dot and you clicked on it in the software, then it tells the mount to only follow that dot like that, yeah?
Yeah.
That's video closed loop tracking. So when it goes that far, then the computer calculates the line for the next, and it's literally watching what's going in the pixels. So the pixels are the helping it track. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
So once it's done that, you can literally let that take over, and you can take over getting the contrast, the shutter speed right, you know, zooming in, etc. on the main camera, which is attached to the back of the main telescope, and that's how we do it. It's very simple.
Yeah, and it records everything, so you don't miss anything.
Exactly. I've done it live loads of time on the channel, and that's when John Lear said, "Can you come over and build me one?" So I did, and then it moved on to with the chap who made all the Indiana Jones films, saw I could do it, and
Yeah, that's a good one.
he said, "Would you build me one?" So I said, "Okay." I've got that on video, me sitting down with him, and I sent you some frames where he's looking at it, and he's the shocked expression on his face when he sees it. It's just, I'll send you the video, and we're sitting there, and we're looking at the spacecraft that we're tracking, and he's looking, and he can see up in the sky the white dot moving along, and you can see it's all connected, and we're tracking it, and he's just totally, you know, shocked. And we became good friends after that. As you know, I wrote to the Queen and he got an award for his efforts in the movie industry. I don't know if you saw that. When asked the Queen, could you give him an award? And he got one. They got a letter back from the Queen. I think you've got that in chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It took a while to comb through everything, but you have such a long list of everything you've done. But you've been so long.
It's a bit long.
Yeah, you've been doing it so long, and you, like you guys said, you're out on an active location tonight looking for the paranormal.
Yeah. We've just got back and rushed back to be with you, and my kind friend here who's running a program called he's going to start a channel called X1 Ops. Can you see that? Okay, that's back.
I got it.
It's back to front because we're on the camera.
Yeah.
But it's X1 Ops. It's going to start up, and it's going to be me and him are going to go out on locations, and I'll be holding the cameras, and he's going to be driving with a great big tablet in front of him. It's going to be like the front screen of the car. So I've got my special equipment going forwards, and we're literally capturing everything coming towards us and going off road, up mountains, through forests, etc. And capturing stuff. I've also got a really advanced drone, an 8K thermal drone. Have you ever heard of an 8K thermal drone?
No, could you send me one? Sounds fun.
Yeah, they can go 21 miles in any direction, straight up or down. And you imagine 8K thermal drone, and it floats through all the pallets. You know what the pallets are, yeah?
I do.
Yeah. It's got lots more pallets than a normal drone would have access to. It also goes up to, do you know what ISO means?
I couldn't hear that, John.
ISO. Shutter speed in ISO, yeah. It goes up to 300,000 ISO. So in complete darkness, it will look like color day. Yeah. So the drone has got a 15 megapixel like color camera that goes up to 200,000 ISO. So at night you can see complete perfect color, you know, like it's day. Or switch to thermal, and it can see like a man 6 miles away in complete darkness. It's pretty incredible.
John, I got to ask you now. Let's start getting into the other side of things.
Yeah.
Your opinion. We talked about the technology and the amazing stuff you building, but the big question is, you know, there's a big thing between what is government, you know, engineered craft, and what is the actual real deal, you know, and who do you think the real deal is, you know?
Yeah, right. That's a good point. You've got 3 good points there, really good points. So you've got number 1, are they arts that have been made by man that have got back into the stuff they found, or are they just really clever people that have been able to make stuff? Now, when I was first starting doing this in 2006-07, filming the Secret Star Wars project, when Jerry Gilmore got back to me, do you know what he sent me?
What do we say?
He sent me a picture, which you're not going to believe, of a little like sphere that they made way back when they first started the Star Wars project, 1980-ish, with Reagan, President Reagan, remember? And that's the Star Wars project. Now, way back then, they made like a sphere that can travel up and down to the space station and check on the space station to make sure it's okay and come back down. And they've made a sphere that can travel up to the Star Wars projects and check on them and make sure they're okay, and then shoot back down. So the economy is like, vehicle, right? And it's small, so it's a small sphere. That was made way back then. It's not a picture block. And that picture is incredibly like the stuff I'm capturing now. So the stuff I'm capturing now, I've got 80% feeling that it's man-made, a lot of it. But there are, another 20%, which I think it could have been here a long time before us. That's an opinion. I mean, Robert Watts, who was the Hollywood producer that made a telescope for, he said something different. He said he was actually in one of these. He said he was in an organic one, he said. And I've got the video out with him and I can send it to you. It'll be for a later documentary. And you can actually, we sat down like this and he was explaining he was taken up in one of the spheres. And he said Steven Spielberg has got his own. He actually said on tape as well. So there's man-made ones, which I think I'm capturing, and there's also a percentage that we don't know what they are. So, you know, there could be possibly alien, there could be possibly internet, sort of like it that's been on the planet for all this time, you know. So that it's an open question, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that fascinate me, remember who was it, Hopkins, that used to investigate a lot of these cases here in the United States?
Yeah.
Bud Hopkins.
Bud Hopkins, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote a book, and it was big here in Indiana because it actually happened here in Indiana. And I got to go, John, the first time ever, to the lady's house that it actually happened to. She took me out. And still to this day, there's no grass where she said the circular base, the saucer-sized craft landed. And, you know, it could have been a swimming pool there. I don't know. But she showed me pictures from the 60s and 70s when she said it happened, and it still had that spot there. So, you know, I didn't test it for any kind of EMFs or radiation or anything like that, but I was just documenting what she was seeing. And I got to tell you, it was fascinating.
Yeah.
So I got to be out there. She told me that, you know, it's right in the middle of the day. She was washing dishes, heard a noise, looked out back, and there they were.
Yeah.
And the craft and the encounter with the aliens, right? And she said they were great.
Yeah.
So if you take her at her word, she said they left as fast as they came. Just gone.
Yeah.
And she couldn't speak, she couldn't move, and she didn't know how long it lasted, but she did have time loss and all that stuff. So, you know, if you take all those events, all those credible people, and you add them up, you have to say there is something else going on. It can't be just our pilots, you know, driving these things around. They've been reverse engineered.
Yeah.
So we have that technology. But
it makes you think, doesn't it? Like you've got test pilots in the Navy off the coast doing practices, yeah, and they're supposed to be hard to test, yeah, and they're seeing stuff that they don't know that's up there. It should be up there, but they're seeing stuff and videoing it. Right? Now, it makes you think: should they be told that there's a private sector making these things? They should be told that they're up there just for their safety, shouldn't they? You know. Up there, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
Instead, they're seeing these spheres, aren't they? And cubes going up and down, aren't they? And videos.
Yeah. Tic Tacs seem to be over the ocean more, yeah?
Yeah.
Where else? But you know Nick Pope, of course.
Yeah.
I interviewed Nick Pope, and he said that the British government, Department of Defense, they know what's going on. Yeah. They actually, he had said during the interview that America and Britain have been working on this program for a long, long time. And I'm sure if they're together, the whole UN, right? Yeah. Everybody knows about it. So,
I mean, Nick Pope, right?
Yes.
I find it quite shocking. When I was starting off doing this and videoing these things, he must have been working still for the Ministry of Defence when the Ministry of Defence thought it'd be funny to come over my house and come within 5 feet of the roof of my house and knock the tiles off my house, right? And you've seen the video of that, haven't you?
With the chopper?
Yeah, you've seen that?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, yeah, loads of times they used to come over, a Chinook or a lynx or a Merlin. It would be mainly Merlins or a Chinook, and they'd come so close. And now they started doing it with Apache gunships at the bottom of my garden. I've got a tree, and my CCTV on the house is pointing down to the tree. They come in the same level as my CCTV and just sit there in an Apache gunship. I'm not kidding. It's in the book. And have a look. Get my book. It's in the book, and you can see the tree, which is my back garden tree, and an Apache gunship just sitting there. 2 of them, right? Why? I mean, and he would have been working way back then when the Chinooks used to come over and actually knocked, parts of my roof off and knocked me down. The downdraft knocked me down in the garden while I was filming it,
Yeah.
So he knew they were coming over my garden. Why?
Yeah. They're interested in that technology you got there. I imagine they just come in and take it. I mean, they've never been too shy about it.
Well, I don't know. Why can't they just? I mean, I was punched uptown, and he had a video recorder on me. He was walking past me. In those days, they didn't have very good spy pens in their pocket. They used a little camera in a bag with a hole in it. And I caught one guy coming towards me, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he got a bit filthy, and he punched me and said he was watching me. And I goes, "What for?" And he ran off. I don't know why, but getting back to the technology that I've built, anyone could do it if they sit down and just thought through logically. Anyone, you could do it. I mean, if you get the book, it explains how to build one of these things that I've been talking to you about. So you can build it, yeah. There is a technique to using it. So in book 2, I'm going to share the technique, how to once you've built it, you can then, book 2 will show you the technique how to use it. I mean, you understand that, right? So.
Oh yeah, your American cousin understands, sir. Hey, I gotta say,
I was speaking like that to the audience because they might not understand. I mean, I know you do. You're clever, and I've just come back from watching, as I said, Dr. Greer, and he was speaking like that on stage to us English people. He was being very, like, do you understand me?
Yeah.
I'm just checking because I'm English.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. You got to be proper about. Hey,
look at this. Look, you haven't. That's in the book. Can you see that?
That's the chopper, huh? Outside in the backyard.
Yeah, look, over my house.
Yeah.
So that's an Apache gunship.
Apache, yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got a Chinook over the roof. Can you see?
I can't see.
Yeah. So that's how close. That's how close they were. Yeah. He's really good. He's funny. He's going to find some good stuff.
How many pages are in that book?
In the book, yeah. Buy the book and you'll see. There's loads of look. It's a beautiful cover. I took a picture of the moon.
Far above space and time.
Yeah.
That looks good, right? And you can buy that anywhere books are sold, right?
Amazon.
Amazon,
and it's really cheaply priced. So that I want a lot of people to see it. So it's not expensive at all. Yeah, it's really cheap. So and
guys, there you go, fast, right? Go out to Amazon right now and get that tonight.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something funny, right? We arrived at Dr. Greer's conference. And in the parking area, there's this big wall. And guess what was sprayed on it by a spray artist?
What's that?
It was FAST, F-A-S-T.
Like V for Vendetta, man. You're starting a movement.
Yeah, so I stood next to it and got someone to take a picture. On the conference, there's this massive, great big, like, wording saying FAST. It was so funny, But... It's a good book. It goes on about in Malta. Have you heard of? Did you see that in the bio?
I did. Malta.
I go under the tunnels under Malta in the underground cities. Did you know? In Malta, they've got underground, literally caverns and tunnels that are so deep underground And I went there this summer, and there was, I think, literally underneath Valletta, you can go in. That's a city, and if you go, you know, with a crowd of about 13 people, they show you, you know, all around. But you can go off on your own. And I went off on my own, and literally, I come to this like great big cavity, this great big clearing. There was this little boat, and I looked, and there was this lake underground. You needed the boat. The lake was so big, you needed the boat to cross the lake underground. That's how big the underground cities bases are under Malta. It's incredible, really, really incredible.
No, I would love to see that, man.
Yeah, it's in the book.
What was the original purpose for Malta, the underground town?
Yeah, the original purpose for Malta was, number one, it's my 26th wedding anniversary, and I went there with my wife. She's beautiful. She's really beautiful. And I got there, and we got in this nice hotel we've been going to for 26 years, every wedding anniversary, and they know us quite well. So we learned to know the family of the hotel. They've got a construction company, and now they're building a new hotel next door, a very expensive one. So I was talking to them, and just what I said. They're going to give me, on the top floor, they're building a Japanese-themed garden, and they're going to give me a room up there with my telescope. So I can take a telescope there, and then whoever comes to the really exclusive hotel will be given an app to download, so that if you want to, you can look at the stars, the planets, or, you know, take a look at all the lovely universe that we've got up there. Free with the telescope up on the roof, which is brilliant. You know.
That sounds fascinating, man. I would love to get out there. I just want to get to the UK alone. I mean, yeah. Some of those haunts that you guys have.
I invite you. If you want to come over, you can come over. We'll take you round. I'll let you use my equipment, and we'll show you live what I'm seeing. How about that?
Me and Coley crash on your couch. How about that?
You can crash on my couch if you can put up. I've got German Shepherd, well, Belgian Malamutes, if you like those.
Hey, it's cheaper than a UK hotel room. I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'll tell you what, John, let's take a quick break. This will be our first one. Okay, everybody hang on. I got to get this camera fixed. As you know, I lost my cam, man. So
it's fine, you know.
Oh yeah. Just hold on 1 second, and we'll be right back. How about that? All right.
Lights in the sky above, questions we can't shove, mysterious stories told, secrets that unfold, experts share their tales. Holy anarchists talking with lights in the sky above, questions we can't shove, mysterious stories told, secrets that unfold, experts share their tales, mysteries in the trails, whispers in the night, aliens in flight. Oh, UFOs are unreal, tell me what you feel, aliens unseen, paranormal dream. Cryptids in the woods, Sasquatch understood, the unknown so surreal. talk and share. Mystery everywhere. Beyond the skies we gaze.
Okay, guys, welcome back. You know what? No music, no nothing. Coley's still working on audio. My lady, I'm going to bust this out my way. I've tried it every other way. So, guys, you have to forgive me. I can't get the music or nothing. But anyway, tonight's guest, John Walson in the house. We're talking telescopes, UFOs, aliens, and everything. Let's get John back in here. John, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you fine. Yeah.
All right, brother. Thanks for hanging on the phone. We're just going to rock it out. I'm going to start asking you questions about abductions. Do you know anyone that's ever had it happen to them? Has ever anything came close to you that you've experienced like that?
Yes.
Tell me the story, sir.
Oh, what? That's that. Oh my gosh, that's really top secret. You really want me to tell you?
I got to hear it, man. Unless the British government's coming after you, right? I'll take them too. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Just before I actually talk to you about that. I will talk to you about it. But this here, look how happy John Lear was. Can you see him there? When I met
right here and all. Old John.
Yeah, isn't he lovely?
He is.
Yeah, really nice chap. And that's when I met him in Las Vegas. And yeah, get him back to your question. Yes. Now, the most important person I know that's had an experience with the out of ordinary paranormal experience is Sir Patrick Moore, the famous astronomer I used to go to as a child.
Yeah.
Now, one day he was in his garden, and he didn't leave his house much because he loved cats, and he'd build like a fence, like net, and keep his cats in the garden. He didn't want them eaten by foxes. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And we'd sit there sometimes waiting for it to get dark to do astronomy. And one day he said, "What is that?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "That." And I couldn't really see, but then I could see something like coming towards us, and it was like a little ball of like bright light, but it was still dust, yeah. And it was coming closer and closer and closer and closer. And he was really starting to not scare me, but he was building the atmosphere, yeah. And it was like, you know, I'm a little boy, you know, on my own, yeah, with him, because my mum used to know him, yeah, okay.
Right.
So, and we had a cleaner that was in the house, so it was safe, you know. I felt okay, but it was getting dark, and this ball of light was coming, and he was going, "What's that? What's that? What's that?" And eventually it got to us, and all it was like a, you know, those ball of like fluffy, like little, you know, the fluffy hairy ball things that float through the sky, and they're like bulrushes in your, yeah. So all it was, the light was catching it, and it was coming across the garden. But he made out that it was like a real light, and it was scary, but made me laugh in the end. And he was joking about it. But no, I do know someone that's had, yes, a proper encounter. I was laying on my bed. I was about 19 years old, and this is the truth, the whole truth. Okay, I'll take a lie detector test. And I was laying on my bed, and we lived near these woods because I used to love listening to the trees at night. So I used to leave my window open, and you'd hear the trees. One night, I used to have black German Shepherd dogs in those days when I was about 19, and I used to lay on the floor. I woke up and she was on my chest, really scared. And you know when German Shepherd dogs are really scared, they show their teeth, yeah, and their lip drops up. So she was on me like this, and I thought she was going to bite my nose off. And I looked to my right, and I see this sphere, this bright ball sphere coming through the window. Okay, and I'm not kidding. Okay, I'm telling the truth. The bed I was on lifted off the ground with me on it, and the bed was spinning round slowly, with me on the bed with the dog. Okay.
The whole bed?
Yeah, the bed was spinning round, and I don't care if people think I'm nuts, but it really happened, honestly. I said one word, which I'm not going to repeat on a live broadcast, but I said it and it vanished just like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a word that you might say. You've been in the military, haven't you? Have you been in the military? Yeah.
Yes.
So you know, have you seen one of your friends shot? Have you at all?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I have. And what do you say straight away? Please help us. No matter if you don't believe in God, you say it, don't you? Yeah.
There's no atheist in foxholes,
Yeah, exactly. So I just said something like that, and it went just like that and vanished, and the bed dropped to the floor, and that is the truth, you know. So, but there is a worse thing than that. There's a real bad experience that someone had, and I don't know whether I should tell them. You know, I should save that for them. I think.
Oh, you got to tell us now, John. You can't leave us in the brother.
It's a very, very, very interesting, and I was there, and I've got it okay, on film as well. Yeah, I've got two. There was have you heard of the good? No, I better not say that. There was a crash, okay, in England, and no one knows about a crashed aircraft. Okay, and I just happened to be filming this crashed aircraft from one angle, and another person was, I didn't know they were there, was watching it from another angle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was on a big field, yeah, a great big field. Like you have your cotton fields and your wheat fields. This was on a big grass field, and it crashed. This aircraft crashed, but I was filming like I do. the bright objects in the sky, and it actually collided with the aircraft, a light aircraft, like a little twin blade aircraft, and it crashed. And I filmed the crash. I filmed the object fall to the ground with the aircraft, and I filmed the recovery as well. I've got it all on film, and the military guys got it all on film. And a few reporters do, but they won't go to the main media and tell everyone and ask for the video. But it's true.
So
And
no military visits, no midnight visits from the Men in Black.
yeah. I've been New York. Oh yeah. Have you seen the laser in my eye?
I have not.
Right. Okay. When I was I just heard I thought it was a Chinook coming, so I ran to the front door. Luckily, I've got CCTV on me and pointing up. Yeah. Okay, on my house because of the experiences with the Chinooks, and it wasn't a Chinook coming. It was an actual. It was a misty night, and first thing I heard was like a helicopter coming across the trees towards my house. So I pulls out my camera, ready to take a picture of it, and as it got to my front gate, it shot a beam of light down, which they're only supposed to put on when they're searching for people at like 200 feet. Is the lowest they can put it on. For example, in the manual, it says if you turn this on and point it at a car tire at 20 feet, it can set the car tire on fire. So you imagine what it did to my face that night. They were like probably 50 feet above my house. They're probably 100 feet in the air, and they turned it on. And it wasn't a concentrated boom, luckily, because the more you concentrate it, the more power it's got. So it was a wider. It was probably about 3 foot wide boom. Does that make sense? You know, it was like on search mode, but it's still burned my face. I look like the character off of the Third Kind. You know, when he stopped and looked out his truck and burned his face. So, and the shape of the camera, you know, it was a camera like this, was round my face, and I had a white patch there where my camera was there, but because the light went through the lens into my eye, it burned my eye already. And that's in the book. You can actually see the doctor's letter, all the evidence, and it was caught on CCTV at the same time I'm filming it. So there was me filming it, my CCTV camera's filming it, and I've put all the stills are in the book, and you can see the time, the date, the doctor's apology, all that sort of thing. You know, so
John, I gotta ask, Bubba, what are you doing with all this video? Are you waiting to release it, or is it already out?
Well, yeah. If you go to my YouTube channel, right, everything that's listed in the book has got links to the video on my YouTube channel. Yeah. So there's a lot up there, but it's just a fraction of what I've actually captured with my friend here. It's over the last 25, 30 years, we've both been doing a similar sort of thing. And so there's a lot of video that hasn't been put up there. But if you go to my YouTube channel, I think you put a link to it somewhere.
Yeah, go ahead and tell. What's the name of your YouTube channel? Is it just John Walson?
Yeah, just well, a lot of people steal my stuff over the years. They've made lots of documentaries, nicking the stuff and making money. They're even selling a DVD on Amazon, and I've not given permission. They've made up other channels, John and Walson channels, and I think they've done it just to nick stuff, and I don't know. I don't know why they're doing it, but you know. So what?
Copyright that, man. They will take your stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they will, but yeah.
Well,
so there's stuff up there. It's John and Walson YouTube. So just make sure you click on the one with you'll see this. Yeah, I've put that as the cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not on my thing, but still that. So you'll see John and Walson. So that's what you'll see. You know that's mine. And the moon stuff on there. Wow. Sure.
You know, let's talk about, because you and I, and the listeners in the chat, we are both paranormal investigators, right?
Yeah.
we research this. I can't even say investigator. I've done it so long. I'm an experienced. You know, I just sit down and experience and let the equipment run.
Yeah.
And I really don't care what other people believe, but you know, one of the things I specialize in is instrumental transcommunication, because something is talking, and it uses human voices. Now, whether those are spirits or aliens or whatever, I have no idea. But I know I got the voices. I got hundreds of hours documented. You can check that out online too, man, on my YouTube channel, Shadow Nation Podcast. But the thing about it is, John, over the last 10, 15 years, I started having people approach me and say, you know, these haunted places it's awesome. You see what you see, but you can't not look at the skies when this stuff happens, because there might not be that far apart, the paranormal and the alien UFO genre. I mean, the stuff that's happening, you know, might be one and the same. Now, I know how I would link it. How would you link the dead, if in fact it is the dead, and aliens?
How would I? Sorry, what was that?
Well, how would you link? I know how I would link it. How would you link if these are spirits of our departed that are communicating and they're here on Earth haunting these places?
Yeah.
How would you connect our spirits and aliens? And
Aliens?
how does that drive the phenomenon?
Wow, that's a good question. What?
Well, we were discussing this on the way back from the conference this afternoon.
This is Raph. Sorry.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, John was filming on the way back with his thermal camera, and there was a distinction between certain things that we were seeing, and like John said, I've been researching the paranormal UFOs about 30 years as well, professionally. My personal view is that there's at least three types of these things that we're seeing in the sky. One is possibly extraterrestrial. Secondly, reverse engineered military equipment. That's what. Oh, and third, interdimensional beings.
Right.
But I feel like they're the ones that are further up in the sky. The ones that you see lower down are the spiritual, what people see as orbs and stuff. And they're the ones I believe are actual spirits that are still, for some reason, still here. Whether we just do all stay here, we don't know it. But that's from my research, from going around thousands of churches, filming with all types of formats, tuning into the orb and take them, seeing faces, complete faces, even with some complete families, where it's not like it looks like a person. You can clearly see it's like a family portrait of a mother and father and two kids, an individual person, and we've had telecommunication with them. It's like you can feel they're trying to pass a message on to you. An example, there was one church we were going to, and this light blue assault used to turn up all the time. Twice a week we go there. One day it comes right up close to us, and it come up to my friend, and literally come right to touch his forehead. And my friend said he felt like he had some sort of download of information going into him, and all of a sudden it all vanished. And then we went there week after week after week, seeing other orbs, but this particular one was very, very unique, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And my friend said, in the sense that this orb seems to have it had an issue that it couldn't leave this plane of land until it put something right. It wouldn't to tell someone or something, what had happened, and it seems to be just still, until that point, we've been revolving around as an orb for God knows how long, until it finally made communication with my friend. And my friend doesn't know to this day what it was trying to tell him, but it's all, he said, in the sense that it had a sense of satisfaction, and that it could leave now. And then they all disappeared.
Not me. It's somebody else. Yeah.
Another
Yeah, yeah. But
sure, John, sure.
yeah, getting back to the equipment and orbs, I'll give you an example. You're gonna. It's on my channel. You're gonna blow your socks off. I turned up at Terry Caskey's conference in London last Sunday, and the lady that owns the mansion, it's the manor house that they do the conference in, because we arrived late. She's really nice, really lovely lady, and showed us out to the garden, gave us a drink, and I said to her, "Do you want to have a go on some equipment?" So she said, "Yeah." So I said, "Look, don't drop it. It's worth quite a bit of money." And so she put it around her neck, and I put it on a mode where you can have thermal and infrared at the same time. Yeah. So I said, I put it on record. I gave it to her. She's holding it in her hand, and I said, "Look, if you look up there, that direction in the sky, and you can hear me say that." And I said, "If you just use it in this way by lifting the binoculars up and then dropping them down, so that what your plane of vision halfway through is in that part of the sky until it hits the pink." In thermal, they've got the rainbow pink mode, yeah?
Right.
Palette. So when the middle of the sky hits that contrasted, because you can whack the contrast up high. So when the contrast hits the middle of the screen, of the middle of your plane of your view, that's where you're going to touch them. And as I said that, one turned up right above her mansion house. So she's going, you can hear her say, "There's one there." Then all of a sudden, guess what happens?
What's that?
It splits into two on video. So she starts shouting, "Yeah, it's split into two," and that's all on film for you to have a look.
So it goes from one large orb to two.
To two, yeah. And she filmed it, not me. So, with my equipment, and I think that was a good turning point. Capturing a sphere or whatever you want to call it.
That was done.
Yeah, that was done in front of about 20 or 30 people. Then her sister had a go, and somebody else had a go, and they were all catching these spheres and orbs up in the sky. So that's a quite good example to prove that it's not me faking it. It's not the pilots faking it. The American pilots, they're not faking it. There is something there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you, you know a little bit about my backstory, and I grew up in a haunted home.
Yeah.
I'm about ready to be 49. It was on the south side of Indianapolis, Indiana, here in the United States, right in the Midwest, right? Cornfields and all around here.
Yeah.
And it was a female, looked like a female. She would walk around the house. Mom and Dad would see her. She was so real, in fact, it was like looking at you. A lot of people say see-through and everything else.
Yeah.
She was, until I was probably about 9. I believed it was a lady renting the room upstairs. That's what my parents told me, in fact, so I would stay my butt in bed and not come sleeping with them. That was bad. That was bad. But they finally admitted that it was a ghost.
Wow.
And, I kind of got used to it. I told you before the show, it wasn't like Conjuring. Your sheets didn't go flying through the air. I didn't get thrown around. It was a real subtle deal. Thank God. And I don't know, man. It was, I'm almost 49 now, so I've done this all my life. So she made an impression.
You get the heavy weight on your chest feeling and that sort of thing.
The burning sensation on your chest. Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
My mother, when she was alive, she said she got that too in the house. We moved out when I was about 13. So, but it followed me all my life, not her, but wanting to know. And then my cousin actually told me about the first UFO he had seen. And he started me on the UFO kick. Of course, I seen Close Encounters, right? Of the third kind, all the movies you got to love, man. And he got me into the UFO stuff. I love the haunted stuff, and now I do both. But I remember being 15, 16. We went out to the cornfields and sitting there at night on the roof of the car and looking at those lights. And that's when I first see my UFO. And I remember this feeling I got from that was the same feeling I got when I would see that woman, the apparition of that woman, go through the house. Hold on one second, John. You lost audio, bub. Let me hit you. There we go. You're back.
Yeah, that's a really good point you just said there. The same feeling you had. Okay. Now remember that, because that's you. That's your gut feeling that you had when you saw that orb. The same feeling as what you felt when you saw that haunting. Yeah. Okay. Now, when did you know that you can actually turn light into sound? Did you know that?
I'm sorry, what was that, John? Light into what?
Yeah. So if you record some light with a telescope or a powerful camera or whatever, you can actually turn light into sound. Did you know that?
Sound. Okay, sound.
Yeah. So it's frequency. You can turn light into sound.
Sure, everything's vibration and frequency, I would imagine.
Yeah. You can also turn sound into light. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So if you imagine you've got your capture box, or you leave one in a room, you go away, you come back, and it's captured hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A clear hello. If you wanted to, you can buy a gadget off of the internet and play your audio in, and it will create a light. So that the next time you go into that room, you can press that light, and it might travel as a light frequency back to whatever you saw or heard, and spark a response, yeah, from just returning back what you heard, but in a different frequency or of the sort of sound, but as light.
All right.
Yeah, you can
guys. Here's one for you guys. Let's talk about interdimensional, right? Boom, 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 boom. That's the newest thing. We heard that last year, the year before, Lou Alexandro, all that stuff. A lot of people have feelings about it. Stephen Greer, of course, he's more into the metaphysical of it, the pinpointing them with lasers, communication, using your mind to connect, which, whatever. Absolutely. I would think if these things, we know they're up there, but I would think telepathy is something we mastered a long time ago, man. At least our governments have. And we probably learned it from these guys, but I think we all have the ability all along. The thing about it is the interdimensional. Let's go the dark rabbit hole. Want to? Let's say what we call demons in the Bible. All right, let's go ahead and break that open, because that's where they're heading with this. I just finished, I'm going to say it again, Elizoto's book, Imminent. You got to read everything if you want to be up on anything, right? So I read it. I wasn't biased in any way. And he talked about a group called the Collins Elite. You ever heard that name? And that's here at the Pentagon and in the United States. And apparently this shadowy group called the Collins Elite approached him one day in the Pentagon, and they told him, hey, Lou, we're not funding anything or moving forward with anything. We already know who they are. And this is when he was talking about who's the passengers of these, or who's the pilots of these vehicles. And he said they were a religious fanatical group that controls policy basically in the halls of the Pentagon, which, here in the United States, separation of church and state was a big thing, but we all know that, it goes way down the rabbit hole. But anyway, if in fact these people are in there, talking about the Bible, and who knows what we can see in the Bible, right? Our copies aren't the entire thing. They've taken out so much stuff over the years. We don't know what's what. Yeah. So the book of Enoch, for instance, that was taken right out of the Bible. It describes aliens to a T.
Yeah.
So demons, are these things what do you think? Angels or demons? Let's go with that.
Right. Okay. So what did in the book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel's will, okay? Now, I don't think he was describing demons, was he? He was describing an angelic force. Yeah. Is that correct? Yeah. So going on that, maybe, you know, from the Bible, if the Bible's supposed to be, I shouldn't be, I don't want to get told off for being biased or whatever, but if it's true, that according to the Bible, it'd be angels, wouldn't it, I suppose? But you've got angels and demons, so maybe they've both got, you know, hot rods they spin around in. You never know. It's an interesting thought. I don't like to look at them as demons, because then, you know, you get this like gloomy look and feel and stigma attached to it. I mean, I know in the government they've been telling people, and especially to the royal family, were advised, don't, you know, get involved with these spheres in the sky because they're demonic, you know. And
it's the same thing in the Catholic Church, and I'm not being biased either, but the Catholic Church, I was raised Baptist Catholic here in the Midwest, so you know I'm screwed up. But the Catholics say, stay away. So do the Baptists. Any kind of religion, don't mess with it. Do not speak to the dead. Even it says in the Bible, it is an abomination before God. Now, Jesus didn't say it. It's not in the words in red that supposedly Christ had said. But men quoted Christ conveniently saying that it is abomination. I forget what, necromancers, you're not supposed to deal with them, necromancy, spirit communication, something else.
Yeah.
I'm going straight to hell, right? That's true, because I talk to them all the time with the ghost boxes and stuff. But you know, it's funny, every time we get close to something, somebody screams demon, 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 demon. You know, is it for our protection? You got to start thinking here. Is it for our protection or for hiding stuff? You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, is it a scary tale at bedtime? You stay away. Don't look at it. You know, so you gotta think like that.
Yeah.
But if you listen to what they say, that they're already admitting that they've already captured fallen craft, they've got these beings dead and alive, they've been reverse engineering their technology.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're telling us they're demons. So what are they telling us? That they've been working with demons for the last 70 years.
Exactly.
And now telling us to stay away from them.
Yeah. It's all right.
It doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up. It's all right for them to work with them and capture them and, you know, investigate them and hold them. But it's not all right for us to want to see what they are. And it's strange that they just won't tell us the truth. But they've been doing it for years, and it's all right for them to do it, but not for the whole world to know.
Right. You guys know as well as I do. If we jump off that cliff, we're going to be here all night, man. You got the Nephilim, you got the angels, demons. You can go anywhere with it.
Yeah.
All throughout the Bible, talk about the weird and strange. What's that?
You mentioned about telepathy earlier. This is something I practice with the UFOs, UAPs, different things, using different sound frequencies, light frequencies, using lasers, different bombs and finds to create some sort of resonance to see if I could actually create a reaction to get an appearance. And it worked. Remember a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago, we were up there doing an interview with somebody else, and right at the end, I remembered I brought some of the equipment with me, did the bomb, did it a few times to get the right type of sound out of it, and I said, look up now, and 3 appeared straight away. Now, I believe then, before that, I used to stand up at a certain place where John was talking about where this crash had happened, a UFO had crashed. I used to go up there, just sit up there in my car, stare at the sky and meditate and just basically project my thoughts up. And one day I had a friend sitting next to me, we had the roof down on the car, open sky, looking across the valley, and all of a sudden I said to him, I said, it'd be really good if the stars weren't actually stars and they were spaceships. And if they were to move right now, wouldn't that be amazing? And I said, let's think about it. So we sort of just sat there for about 10 minutes. And these are stars that we've been looking at for hours, just slowly moving across, like the stars do. And then all of a sudden, They just these were what we call proper stars in the constellation. You could clearly see them. Next thing they did an air show for us. They started shooting left, right, and centre in our peripheral view, straight across, not like moved a centimetre, 2 left, right, to the side, and then for about 2 minutes did that, and then went back to their original positions as stars.
Wow.
We both looked at each other like, did you just actually see that happen? And we both of us were like, that's insane. The actual stars moved. And it was just because I don't know what he was projecting, but I was projecting that, are you actually stars? You know, you're supposed to be things that have blown up billions of years ago, yet the light still stays the same size. It hasn't got no bigger. Thousands of years ago, the Egyptians were mapping them, yet in thousands of years, the stars are still the same size, but they're supposed to be stars that have blown up billions of years ago coming towards us, yet in thousands of years, they haven't got no bigger.
Right.
And they were exactly the same place all the time. It makes no sense because a light beam should be getting, as it's getting closer to you over the years, would be getting wider and bigger. But they all seem to be the same. Nothing's changed. So, telepathy, like I was saying, I do believe works. I've tried it multiple times and had 99% success rate every single time I've done it.
I got to say, Raz, on the spirit side of that spectrum, I've tried the exact same thing. I call it manifest.
Yeah, manifest physical objects.
Yeah. I was doing ITC, instrumental trans communication, and I asked him, how can I better communicate with you guys? Right? So I asked the who, what, where, well, how, when, you know, the basics. And I got several voices saying mine. How do I better communicate? It says mine. It's on my YouTube page, clear as day. And I said, how do I see a spirit? How more easily could I do that? And I've had him say, you got to be careful of that man's voice. And then I had him say, people. So somehow we are the key to the other side, the spirits. Yeah. So like you said, sometimes I'll use my mind. I know it sounds goofy, but I'll ask a question out loud. And then sometimes I'll ask it in my mind, and I've gotten responses.
Wow.
And this is what the military are now figured out, how simple it is to make communication with these, whatever they are. Mm-hmm. Now they've figured out that they don't need all this technology that they've been practicing with to make communication to bring them down. They realise they can make communication with their mind. When they realise it's that simple, now what do? All of a sudden, disclosure. Disclosures come out. Oh, they're real. But the demons.
Yeah.
So everybody else. So basically, if somebody sees it, you don't try to make communication with it because they don't want whatever technology, whatever they've managed to gain from communicating with them, bringing them down, or whatever they've done. They don't want the rest of us to know about it.
Well, that's an old trick, isn't it? As old as Adam and Eve, right? Don't touch the forbidden fruit. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is what I believe that the whole disclosure project is all about. Is basically they couldn't keep the lid on the can. They've had to let it out, and they're like, you know what? Let's just scare the living daylights out of everybody, call them demons, and stop majority of the people trying to make communication. Plus, also, it creates a new enemy. What gives what the military industrial complex more money.
Yeah, that makes sense. I tell you what, John, I got a question that came in from the chat room before it scrolls up. I don't want to lose it. This comes from Louis Presto. He has a couple of questions, actually. He said, can John describe one of the crafts captured, which you did that earlier, I think, but Louis got in here late, I think. Or how far away are the craft from us, or are they past the moon? How far are the craft from us? Are they past the moon? And could you describe some of them that you captured?
Well, the ones captured, yes. Well, I was going to do a bit better than that. In the book, back to the book, it actually shows you a picture and diagrams how to build a telescope, yeah? Okay?
Yeah.
Right? That's the first thing you need to know is have a telescope like that, yeah. Okay. Then when you've built that with your own hands, okay, then you can find out how to use it with the tracking. Then once you've learned that and the skill how to use that, then you can think about the distance and what they are. Now, your question from the viewer was, what are they? Well, I told you in the beginning, Jerry Gilmore explained he thought they were part of the Star Wars project, and they are long box section ones which are very distinctive. When they finally bring out and show the world like what you know, a satellite looks like live, because at the moment it's hard to find a real picture of a satellite, isn't it, up in space? If you Google it, it's just all computer graphic. There's no CGI. There's no real raw picture of a satellite, is there, in space? But when you get to see one, Jerry Gilmore clearly said that they were exactly like what I'm just about to show you, and a lot of them have a long, like, tether section, and it's hard to describe. When you see something raw in space, it's got, push your telescope at the limit of its diffraction limit, you know, and you get visible, like, rings of balls around the edges of your picture, which makes it fuzzy. That's why you have to stack it. And you get, see, look here, the long tether section, and you get a front part. Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get a long tether section. On the front, you've got like a box section and a box section at the back. And he was describing that these are like satellites from the Star Wars project. And so a very good friend of mine worked out. He's an excellent. He wrote the book. He's an excellent, you know, gentleman. There's his name just here at the top.
John L. Wilkie and John L. Watts. Got it.
Yeah. This gentleman is incredible. He's really incredible. He worked out that exact question, and if you read the book, you'll see the answer. But I'll give you a little gist of it. He worked out. When I was filming one of these spacecraft objects. Yeah, it was a lighter color, which is a different frequency. Okay. Then just by chance, the International Space Station went past and got caught in the frames in front, in between me and the spacecraft. Okay. Now you know you can work out the distance through the angle of light and colors up through the atmosphere. Did you know that? Yeah. So we know how far the space station's up, don't we? Yeah. Up in space. Yeah. And the person in chat asked, how far are these away? Yeah. So if you read the book, it explains the frequencies of the light where it's captured, where the space station is, and then beyond that, the color and the frequency of what I was filming, so you get a rough idea of how far away it was. And so that answers that question. And the other question was, what are they? I was told that they were the secret Star Wars project, but other people thinks, like I've spoken to Robert Watts, the producer of Indiana Jones and Star Wars movies. He thinks that they're alien. So what can I say? If we could all possibly do this live, yeah, and we all come to a live conference. I said to Dr. Greer today, I said, there's one thing missing from his conferences, from everybody's conferences, is a live demonstration. Yeah. Now, I promise I can do a live demonstration anywhere, anytime. Yeah, I did. And I said, look, you can stand up there and talk for 4 hours or whatever. That's great, and show pictures. But people want to see live demonstrations, don't they? Yeah. You know, I'm willing. I've got my equipment. I can turn up anywhere. And I said to Greer, well, my friend did, turn up. And they said they're going to come on Tuesday. And I'm going to show them live this stuff working. So that's what he's missing. That's what I find a lot of people missing. Even NASA don't do live broadcasts much anymore, do they?
No.
You know, because they're scared of seeing a little white ball go across the screen.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they'll still send one out every once in a while, but it's been edited and everything else.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
like Mars was red, right? For how many years?
Yeah.
Everything was red. It had the filter on the rover, so it was. What? And that shows you right. Whatever they show us, whatever we hear, it's fed to us from them.
Yeah.
That's why I turn off media and everything. I try to find alternative sources for my media and everything. I don't know about the UK. It's probably as nutty as America. Everybody's lost their mind. You cannot listen to media about anything. And when they talk about UFOs, it's usually, so tell us about the little green men. I mean, come on. Don't feed us, just straight.
Right. I've dared the UK news to let me show them live this stuff. I've dared them to do it, and I've dared NASA to let me show the moon live. And I've said, look, let me get my telescope and I'll show you the highlands of the moon. I mean, have you seen how close I get to the moon on my YouTube
video?
Yeah, I mean, if I was on
you can see the
moon, the craters are like 20 miles across, and there's little craters of like 5 or 4 miles across in the middle of the crater, so I can get right into those. Now, if I was on the moon, I'd be able to see London with my telescope, the whole circumference of London quite clearly. So it makes you think, why don't NASA do that? Every month have a NASA, live broadcast on the moon. It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? It would be amazing, but they don't do it, do they?
Or a 24-hour cam from the space station, something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. But because they're just scared of what might come past the window. Hi, we're here.
John, the guys, they don't have to do this. That's why they're not going to do it. I mean, like you said, why? They're not even hiding things anymore.
Yeah.
Here in the United States, it's funny, and this is kind of different, but it's not. We're talking about the government and the overreach and the power they have to hide this phenomena from us, which they have since the 30s and 40s. I think the first craft came from Brazil that United States captured or bought from the Brazilian government or took. So anyway, 2 Boeing employees. You guys hear about this out in the UK?
Yeah.
Within 3 or 4 weeks of each other, they were found dead.
Wow.
They were found shot in their cars. Suicide. Both of them. Both whistleblowers for Boeing airplanes. They were going to come forward. Of course, Boeing has the government contracts and everything else. And now they're stuck in space with the astronauts. 2 whistleblowers that worked for Boeing. They were coming forward and never made it to court. Both of them died suicide.
Wow.
Just had a bad day. Those 2 guys, unfortunately, they're not hiding anymore. It's in plain sight. It's right in front of you because they think, well, they got their heads so far up their rears and they fed us misinformation for so long. I've talked to some people and said, how can you not think about, are we alone? We know we're not, and some people just put their face down in their phone. They're like, well, I'll just go to work and do my life. I can't believe it. I'm like, how can you not get excited about this and want to know? But there's more people like that, at least in the United States, than there are not.
Yeah.
To give a possible answer to, are these craft that we're seeing, are they man-made or are they extraterrestrial?
Right.
Let's say they're man-made. Why would we need an intergalactic space federation for defense all around the world if there was nothing to defend against? Why spend so much money and keep it so secret if they found nothing extraterrestrial out there? There would be no point. Unless they knew there was a threat, why would they invest so much money and keep it so secret if there wasn't actually anything out there?
Well, Greer, you guys know this. He probably talked about it today. He's not the first one. NASA's work guys had talked about it before too. Red flags. that they've reverse engineered these craft to do one last final red flag to say, uh-oh, we're in trouble, right? Blow up a building, attack somebody, and say, look, the UFOs are demons. They're bad. Let's go get them. Greer, you guys heard that today, I'm sure, right? That's one of his theories, that he was told by somebody secret high up that this was going to happen. So who knows? Maybe they're setting us up for that, but it had to come from somewhere. And those things flying around, our pilots out there, they're not going to risk human life by coming inches within a jet's wing or flying an inch over the top of its head. They're still going to follow aviation guidelines put forth by the military. They're not going to endanger another military, well, I wouldn't think, another fighter plane. So there's something up here. These things, they know they're not going to hurt or hit the plane within inches. They'll fly over top, but they know they're not going to, the pilot's going to be fine. The craft's not going to be gone. If they wanted us dead and these things are aliens, we'd have been gone a long time ago. So we know they're hostile, at least the ones flying around that we know of. Now, if you want to talk about underground bases, Dulce, stuff like that, maybe the reptilians, all that, going down the rabbit hole, you can go on and on, man. But are there different groups of aliens? What do you guys think?
Well, you go to Malta. Oh my gosh. Wow. Where do I start? Right. There's a place near Malta called Gozo. It's a little island just off of Malta in the Mediterranean. Okay. Just near, you've got like Africa here, Europe here, and you got like Italy here, and it's bang in the middle of the Mediterranean. It's a beautiful island. I went, as I said, not so long ago there, and I took a trip on a boat to another island called Gozo, where they've got this like ancient sacred site. It's about 3,000 years older than the pyramids. Okay, it's really old. It's in the book, and basically, I get there, and I get my equipment out, and I ask them, please, can I have permission to use my thermal camera and my drone, which has got LiDAR on the bottom. You know what LiDAR is? Where it'll take a grid, and it'll make a 3-dimensional model so you can spin it around. Yeah, so I said, could I please do that? They said, yeah, okay. So they sent a security guard round with me that, looked after my equipment when I went in there with the thermal camera, and then with the infrared, and then a mixture of both that I could record at the same time. And as I was in there, I pointed up like that through the middle of the temple, straight up like that. And there was this glowing sphere straight above the temple, and it's all on film, uncut film, straight like that. So it's right there hovering. And I thought to myself, right, quickly, focus in and out so the people at home can see I've unfocused my equipment and refocused it. It let me do it, because normally they just shoot off, and go fast, zoom away. But it seemed to know that I was trying to focus on it. It let me focus to prove that it was, focused to infinity. I wasn't, filming an out of focus like bird or a fly. And then as soon as I got it in focus, then it shot off, like that. So that felt pretty interesting. And as I come down like that, I was looking through the middle of this sacred site. There was like this sort of mountain in the distance, a big hill sort of thing, with a flattened off top of the mountain. So it's totally flat. So I'm looking at that with my infrared thermal equipment going down, and I'm not kidding. It was like the size of a bus, and the side of the stone that was on the side of this mountain just started to glimmer like a mirror. I thought, that's weird. There must be something wrong with my equipment. So I looked somewhere else. It was okay. I went back to that spot, and you just saw a square, well, like the oblong sort of shape, perfect, shape. But it went like a mirror, like you look at a pond and it wobbles, and it was perfectly reflective. So everything that was in front of it, like a tree, was reflected into the side of this perfect square. And I filmed it perfectly, and I'm thinking, what technology could that be? Or is it just electromagnetic values in the mountain and the rocks, possibly. Could that be doing it? But it makes you think that why are there so many underground cavities that are the size of cities under Malta? And I went to the edge of Malta near the US Embassy. They've got in Malta, there's a US Embassy, and it's over near the football stadium. And there's some cliffs over there called, I think, the Dingley Cliffs. I went over there with my equipment, and I'm looking up, and just by chance, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's as clear as anything, a clear sky. The moon is supposed to be around the other side of Africa, okay? So you're not supposed to be able to see the moon. So I got up there with my equipment, and guess what I see?
What's that?
The moon. The moon is still visible going across the Mediterranean Sea towards Africa. Now, it should have been gone right around Africa at that point in time, but it was still there. And I'm videoing it, and all of a sudden, one of these spheres shot literally out from the moon and took 4 seconds to get down to the edge of the Mediterranean Sea. And I was expecting a big splash. I thought, oh God, this is a meteor. No splash. It just went straight in the sea. Now, I'm also thinking, because Malta's got these underground cities and it's near the American Embassy, I saw this. Could that have been secret technology off of an American underground base under Malta? Could there be one? Because it's in a perfect, place. It's right near. It's not far from Africa. It's not far from, Russia, Europe. It's a good central place to have an underground submarine base, an underground UAP, water research base. I'm thinking, is that what I saw? It's an incredible place. If anyone ever gets a chance to go, meet up at the hotel I'm going to be at, and we're going to do a conference. And first of all, I'll show you the spacecrafts on top of the hotel, which I did with Kerry Cassidy. We did a live broadcast up there, and I showed her all the spacecraft up in space. So that's out on the internet. But I'd love to take you to the edge of the island and show you. I went up in an airplane and I looked down with my equipment. I haven't put this out yet, but I'm going to send you some video and some stills where I was looking down with my infrared and thermal down through the clear sea around the edge of Malta. And the drop-off points, the walls of the sea, the sea wall. Yeah, it drops off quickly. Yeah, you know what I mean, don't you? The sea wall. Yeah. Okay, I've got on video looking out. If you imagine that's the sea wall, I've got things sticking out like that. You see the shadow my thumb's creating on my hand. So you imagine the sun coming down. There's something that's sticking out the sea wall that's also creating a shadow underneath, just here. And I've captured the object sticking out and the shadow as well underneath. And that object looks just like a spacecraft. And that's off the.
What happened to the object? Where'd it go? Just went into the water?
No, I've captured one, and then going further around, there's about another 10, and then it drops off deep, and it's crystal clear water. So next time I'm going to take my drone and fly that over there and point it down and see what.
Coley and I can go, so I'm waiting on my tickets, guys. Next month's good for me, October.
Yeah. I mean, whenever you're free, just say.
I'm free. I got some vacation days coming up.
I'll get my equipment and we'll do a live broadcast to prove it's real. Okay?
Hey, I'll bring the camera, baby. But I got to tell you, man, one more thing. Right. Let's take a ride here. Let's talk about the topic of. Let's go back to the demons a little bit, right? The scary, spooky demons. Stay away, stay away. Let's say they are something negative, or there's a group of negative entities out there, which it's a big universe. A lot of cosmos here. People have said basically they're soul eaters. I mean, it sounds like a comic book. Some people are doing this stuff with, but we do know, as Einstein said, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just changes from one form of energy into another. We know we're energy, vibration, frequency, right? That's the meaning of life. That's everything. The essence of everything. Even the aliens. Energy, frequency, vibration. So when we die, one of the theories is they're soul collectors. That's why the Anunnaki, especially, that's why we were created. That's our purpose on this earth, to fuel the aliens. What do you guys think about it?
I'm just going to show you what you're searching for. There's a person that said to me when they saw this picture, it was Her Majesty the Queen of England, actually. She wrote back to me, and her letter's in the book, okay? And she wrote back to me thanking me for the video I sent her. It was a really close video of the moon, and it was a tower on the moon, okay? And the tower must have been about 4 miles high, okay? And she showed the royal astronomer. He's still alive, okay? And he was really impressed. It says in the letter, which is in the book, Her Majesty the Queen, thank you very much for the DVD you sent me, because I used to send her lots of DVDs of very good high quality stuff from the moon or space, okay? So she wrote back, thank you. The royal astronomer liked it and mentioned a specific tower, a soul catcher. And someone said to me, have you heard the reference to a soul catcher on the moon, a tower? Have you heard that before?
I have heard something about that, but go ahead.
Yep. Now, let me.
John Lear mentioned that.
Yeah, John Lear mentioned about the soul catcher, which is allegedly, not me, but a tower on the moon. And there's a picture in this book. You can clearly see a tower on the moon. Do you want me to find it for you?
Absolutely,
man. There we go. I might have to send you the video, but you can see it's on my YouTube channel, and you can clearly see a massive tower in a crater on the moon. And I showed NASA once because I got lots of emails from NASA, and a chap called Henry Klein, and he was the top video producer for NASA at the time. He was the one that would edit, if a news channel wanted a piece of video for showing the moon, he would edit it before it got to the news channel. Okay, so he's a good guy to look at my evidence of whatever you want to call it on the moon. And he used to email back saying, what he thought it was, blah, 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 blah. Wow, you've got closer to the craft and all this lot. I think I've sent some of the emails to Coley. You might not have seen it, but they're all in the book. And you can actually think, well, what are and where are our spirits going? That was your question, yeah? John Lear thought that the spheres you see are possibly the spheres shooting away off the Earth. That's what he said to me, to the moon. I'm not sure about that, but
those
I've watched
spirits shooting off the Earth. That's what Greer said.
Yeah, that's what Lear said. Yeah, and it made me think, because I saw a bit of video from NASA, and it was a bit of video where you just saw loads of transparent spheres. I mean, hundreds of thousands of them shooting off from Earth, going up into space. And the person that captured that was that famous chap from Vancouver. Do you remember that broadcaster that nicked all the video, the smoking gun video? Do you remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, from Vancouver. That, the one I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually nicked all that off of the downlink. You remember from space? Yeah. So you can't say it's fake because it's from NASA, but are NASA real? I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
NASA. Now you're talking my language, huh? Yeah. Coley, when we started talking and everything, I mean, she goes deeper than I do with the conspiracy. I can't even keep up with because I think we went to the moon. I think we were there. But Coley has a whole nother approach to it. I'm not, we all got different strokes for different folks, baby.
If we went to the moon, you'd need so much lead around you for Buzz Aldrin. I've met Buzz Aldrin. I asked him face to face, did you go to the moon? And he got drunk and wouldn't answer the question. All right. Okay. His wife was under the table at the time. I asked him, in a place, and there was a whole load of posh people, very posh people, around when he was asked the question, "Did you go to the moon?" And he nearly punched one of the guys that asked him that.
I'm telling you, I can't buy into it, fellas, that Stanley Kubrick, director, although he's an amazing director, I love his work, The Shining, everything,
right?
in some warehouse, and that would have been the perfect thing to bankrupt the Soviet Union.
No, you're right. You're right. No, he did. Robert Watts said to me on film, because Robert Watts worked on Space Odyssey 2001, with Kubrick, okay. Robert Watts told me that Kubrick was waiting for the footage of the probe going around the moon to come back to where they were making Space Odyssey 2001 to put parts of it in the movie. Yeah. Now, when they made the set for Space Odyssey 2001, Robert Watts told me that Kubrick was asked to fake some of the moon landing. Okay, and I've got that on film if you want to watch it. So he's really old now, and I feel sorry for him. And he rang me up on the red carpet.
One thing I want to say, gentlemen, and I respect what you guys are saying very much, but people don't bring up the fact, and I know we're talking about extreme temperatures here, getting to where the moon is, but the faster something goes, like say the shuttle missions, whatever, the launches, the Apollo missions, the faster something goes, people don't realize that they don't mention that the extreme heats, the speed cuts down on the heat. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, John? Yeah. It's not as hot the faster something's going because it's the force against force. It's just, I'm still not saying that proves everything that we went to the moon, because like you said, some of that, the thing was made out of, man, should have crumbled, under the heat. Should have melted, been gone, incinerated.
Right. Okay. When Sir Patrick Moore asked a panel of the astronauts, how did you remember specifically? He said, what was the corona like? The actual when they asked him, he said, did you see any stars on the moon? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. Why was it all black? Yeah.
Yeah. And they said, oh, we don't really remember seeing any stars.
I remember that. I seen the video.
Yeah. And the expression.
The debriefing. Yeah.
Yeah. On Sir Patrick Moore's face when they said that, he just couldn't understand how he not see any stars. And now Japanese people have been up there in China, and you see stars.
Yeah.
With their cameras.
Yeah. It's funny, from the space station, sometimes you don't see stars. You ever notice that?
Yeah, that's it. Now a lot of people ask me, when I'm zoomed in on a spacecraft, why is there no stars around? Yeah, because you're zoomed in to a point of light where you're concentrated on that light and nothing else. Yeah, and you're in a very short focal plane, which is it's hard to explain if you don't know about astronomy. If you use a wide, field of view telescope, like an f, 3.5 f5 or f3, you get a wide field of view. You can see lots of stars. Okay, if you use a very powerful telescope, like an f20, I use at 7,000 millimeter focal length, or an f16 at 7. I built one myself. It was f16, 7,000 millimeter focal length, and it was an 18-inch telescope, so it's very powerful. So when you're looking at a star in space, all you see is one star. You don't see a whole load of stars, and that's looking at a star because it's so powerful. Does that make sense to you? If you use an f5 and it's only 1,500 millimeter focal length, you see a wider field of view, like your camera now can see me and Raph. Yeah, if you had a more powerful lens, you'd just see me, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what it's like up in space. So maybe the astronauts were saying that their iris of their eye, I think they said, it was like they were concentrated only on what they were doing, and it was so bright they couldn't see anything else. I think that's what they said, did they? They said it was so bright they couldn't see the stars because it was so bright, and that might be because their eyes were used to seeing the brightness of what they were doing, and when they looked up, they couldn't see.
Could have been, but that wouldn't affect the camera's eye.
Exactly. Well, it depends what it was set at, I suppose. If it was set at a shutter speed just to capture.
I mean, you believe the space station's up there, yeah? Now,
Oh yeah.
and some of the video it sends back, has a starless sky. I mean, starless vastness of space behind it. Everyone, and then sometimes you'll see something shooting through the. And you just assume it's so I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of filter that I don't know. We're looking at it from the way we go on an old country road, no cities around, and you can see the whole Milky Way galaxy laying on your back of the road. You know what I mean? So why are you seeing it when they're out there? So I get it. I understand. We can see it here. You're closer to it than anybody, and you don't see nothing. So I understand. I do, and I don't have the answer, but I don't know. Just something tells me I think we did it. Maybe it's my hoorah, go America attitude. But I think we did it, fellas. But I tell you what, we're gonna have to jump off, John. Do you have anything else? I want to tell people where to go to get your book. I want you to tell them all the websites, everything they can reach out and contact you and see your stuff, guys.
Yep. Well, there's Far Above Space and Time, and that's a really nice web page. And you've got John and I Walson YouTube channel, and up and coming would be eventually this nice gentleman, which is the wrong way round, but it's called X1 Ops, will be the channel. Straight, there you go. X1 Ops. So you've got again this book on Amazon, and you've got the web page Far Above Space and Time. You Google that, and you go straight to the links with all the YouTube channels, and then there'll be a book 2 coming out after this one to show you the technique to use once you've built the telescope that I showed you in here. Once you've built it, and you'll be in no time learning how to do what I do. And you're welcome to come see it.
Well, you just send me one of those attachments you make, and I'll put it in my telescope. Yeah. I'll pay shipping.
Well, you've got to come over to Malta. You've got to come. Yeah,
I'd love to. The furthest I've ever been was right at. I always wanted to go to Antarctica.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've got to see a part of it, but there's a part nobody sees.
Exactly. That's another podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. We could have done a whole other. You're going to have to come back, and we're going to have to talk about Antarctica and when I was out there on the ship, man, what I seen. So it was.
You've been out there. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. I mean, being just out there, the vastness and the void of where you're at. I didn't see what I wanted to see, the Black Pyramids and all that stuff, underground bases. I didn't never get to see that stuff. But the ice wall, all that stuff, it's there.
You saw the ice wall. The ice wall.
No, but it's I know it's there. I mean, you can't see it. It's almost it's like I said, I was on a ship. So I was past, and I don't know, it's almost so vast, your eyes will play optical illusion. If there is an ice wall or something, you can't see it because it just looks like the ocean. You ever see when you're looking at the ocean, sometimes it looks like the ocean's going up. It's flat and it looks like it's going up because it just keeps going. Exact same thing in Antarctica region. So you would never know. You'd never know. But gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and thank you so much for dealing with all the troubles and audio. And special thanks to everybody in chat for your questions and all your help tonight. John, will you and Raz stay on the line 1 second before I can close it out?
Yeah.
Okay, fellas, hang on 1 second, and I'll close out the show and we'll wrap it up. All right?
Take care, my friends. Thank you.
All right. 1 second, guys. All right, everybody. That was our first SubNation special access code, and you had it tonight, so I hope you enjoyed it. Special thanks to tonight's guest from Coley and myself, John Leonard Walson, guys. Be sure to check out his stuff. He's the author of Fast, for above space, far above space and time. And of course, you can go check that out at faraboveSpaceandTime.com. Make sure you go out there, guys. Special thanks to Ray for joining us tonight, man. That was awesome. To the good people of planet Earth, and of course, to our good friends in the cosmos. This has been another episode of your SubNationSAC special access code, guys. Hope you enjoyed it with all the troubles I was having. I'm calling it a night, man. Anyway, from the haunted back roads of America, don't go changing, good people of planet Earth, because you know we love you. Good night, everybody. Woo! Yeah.